Hey folks, Joe Walker here at Def Digits Guitar Lessons in Seattle. And I'm going live right now for my student Roberto, who can't make it to his lesson today. And I'm going to show you a little trick that I use that I think I picked this up from Paul Gilbert, of all people. He explained it the best in an instructional video that I saw years ago. I can't even pinpoint the source of it. But it's a little trick that you can use when you're in your typical minor pentatonic box like this. When you're soloing in a blues setting and you're doing your typical blues licks, that just playing the notes in that scale gets a little bit old. So you can throw in a couple of extra notes that lie really easily under your fingers in this particular scale position that spice things up a bit. So let me show you what they are. So we're starting in this context of, we're in the key of E, and we're playing stuff that's in E minor pentatonic on the top 3 or 4 strings like that. There's one of our roots, and there's the other root up there. So we're in that context, and we're going to take the top 3 strings of this scale, and each one has 2 notes on it each. We're going to add a note to each of those pairs of notes, so we get 3 notes on each string. So now we got our low root. We're not going to add anything to that string. Then we've got those 2 notes on the G string. We're going to add a note right here. And that's the blue note. If you just added this note, it would be the blues scale, and you'd have great versatile little thing to use. We're going to add a couple other notes too. The next string, we're going to we go to fret 15 there. We're going to add in fret 14. Try to let that soak in, let that new note soak in the context that we're playing in. If we're playing these bluesy kind of licks, right there, just land on that note and just kind of get the feel for how does that note feel in the context of all the rest of this. It doesn't feel like just the blues scale. It does not feel the same as that other note that we added. There's another new flavor that we're throwing in there. We're going to do another new flavor on the high E string as well. Fret 12, we normally go to fret 15, we go to fret 14 there. And that's another new flavor. So those 3 notes that we've added now, like throwing in 3 new flavors. But the cool thing that happens is we take this familiar minor pentatonic shape, and adding those notes gives us on the G string fret 12, 14, 15, on the B string 12, 14, 15, and on the high E string 12, 14, 15. So we have this little pattern that we can use to create some like pattern-based lines through those notes, and then hopefully resolve it after we finish our pattern-based lines, because it's not really like, it doesn't really flow like a scale does. It's a little bit dissonant. It's a little bit outside if you're playing normal blues licks inside, and then suddenly you throw in some of this other stuff in there, because it's got that blue note in there, and it's got this note which turns it into Dorian. So what you can do is this thing, you can just do this descending run. I'm picking most of the notes as I play this. You could do that, or you can do it all alternate picking, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Or you can do legato stuff. You can pick the first note and then pull off the other 2. And then you can make little patterns inside that. You can go. I don't do the legato stuff very much. But you can go both ways. You can do hammer-ons all the way up, pull-offs all the way down. And if you end it on your root down there, it sounds like you've done something weird as you're doing this, and then you resolve it on that root. Another thing that I like to do when I'm using these notes is do other kinds of patterns, like a pattern that you might do through a full scale, like maybe something like that pattern sounds fine going through a whole scale, and that gets used in solos a lot. But if you do this through this weird hybrid scale, like maybe that sounds kind of cool, especially if you're playing, if you're improvising, then you just throw in a little piece of that in there, like something like that. Another thing that I like to do, let's see another pattern that I like. That's one that slips out of my fingers quite a lot. So I'll try to dissect what I'm doing there. On the top string, I'm going down, up, pull off, and then I go up on the next note, but then I double back on myself and go down, up here. Let me see if I can. Yeah, that's it. Down, up, pull off, up, down, up. How many notes was that? Down, up, pull off, up, down, up. So that's 6 notes. And then I repeat that same pattern on the next string. Down, up, pull off, up, down, up, and down, up, pull off, up on the low note. And then I threw in those extra notes like that. Let's see, there's one other that I was thinking of. Oh yeah, you can do, normally when you're playing bluesy stuff here, you've got those 3 bendable notes that are right here, right here, right there. And all 3 of those bend up a whole step, going up a whole step to the next note in the scale. If we look now at this new hybrid scale, we can come back and get some half step bends from those 14th fret notes. So we can do something like, whoops. And we can get some whole step bends from the 12th fret that I just did. And if you know your lower position now, you can use so those 2 bends up here add something a little bit new. This one's bending whole step to the 6. It's on the 14th fret. It's one of our new notes. And that one's bending the 14th fret on the high E string. So see what you can come up with given this new little pattern. It's just a shape that fits very easily under your fingers, but there's a lot of stuff that you can do with it that might spice up your blues playing a little bit when you're improvising. Have fun. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care.